What is going on, everybody? RoyalRapids here, and today we're going to try to see how fast we can beat Pokemon FireRed using just a Lugia. Now, I've always been inspired from multiple different YouTubers such as J-Rose, Scott's Thoughts, people like them who like to see how fast they can get through games or how difficult they can get through games with one single Pokemon. I'm going to try to see if I can do a mix of both here on this channel, and today we are going to start with the mascot of Pokemon Silver, Lugia. Now, Lugia does have very good stats, as I will try to display here on the screen. It is very bulky, and it specializes in taking hits, obviously, that's what bulky Pokemon do. However, one thing I didn't research before this challenge is the fact that Lugia cannot actually do damage until level 22, where it learns Gust. It starts with Whirlwind and then learns Safeguard at level 11, neither of which can deal damage. Which, if you know anything about Pokemon, that means you have to use Struggle in Generation 3, a 50 base power typeless move that does recoil. However, with Lugia's base 90 attack and phenomenal HP and defenses, Struggle shouldn't be too big of a deal. It's going to do quite a bit of damage and should be able to take a fair amount of hits while taking recoil early in the game. And also, I do allow myself to manipulate my starter, so this Lugia here has near perfect IVs. Not perfect. I did want to give it a specific hidden power type, which didn't end up mattering because I never actually used hidden power in this run. However, as you can see, Struggle does have his drawbacks, as I did lose to the trainer outside of Brock. After leveling up, I was able to defeat him, and I do try my hand at Brock at level 9. As you can see, we do only have Whirlwind, so I depleted all its PP, and I do enter the battle with 39 HP instead of 40, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. The issue here, even though Lugia has a pretty solid base 90 attack stat, Geodude can go for defense curls and Struggle as a physical move, and boost its already pretty high physical defense. Even though it's not doing a whole lot of damage to me with Tackle and doesn't have any rock moves, between its chip with Tackle and my chip recoil with Struggle, we're not able to get past it. So, I unfortunately have to go back into the woods and waste all of my PP of Whirlwind and now Safeguard before I'm able to struggle against wild Pokemon and attempt to Brock at level 11. Once again, I'm not at full HP because I can't heal at the Pokemon Center, and I only have a limited amount of money to buy potions. After going for Struggle on the Geodude here, it does seem I'm going to be able to make it to the Onix with 16 hit points remaining. Make that 15 actually after a little bit more recoil. However, though, Onix does have Rock Tomb, which, since Lugia is part flying type, is super effective, and despite Onix's absolutely abhorrent attack stat, it does take us out. I like to go take on the optional rival fight in Viridian City, for the fact that trainer battles do give more XP than wild battles, and also the fact that we can get a little bit of money from him to buy more potions to train up Lugia. And I also do eventually elect to take on Mankeys in the wild, as you'll see a little bit later. They do give attack EVs, as Struggle is a physical move. I attempt Brock again at level 12. As you can see, I am doing pretty good damage to the Geodude, but every time I go through defense scrolls, I take more and more hits. Fortunately for us, we get a critical hit, which ignores stat buffs, and Onix misses a couple of Rock Tombs, allowing us to get off a few free struggles. Issue is, a Rock Tomb is about half before it misses another one and starts going for Tackle for some reason. That's fair enough for me, as Onix misses a Bind, hits a Tackle to 8 HP, but unfortunately a critical hit Tackle downs the Lugia. As you can see, we do have a path to victory here, but I let's just get a few more attack EVs to get to level 13 and try to make this fight at least slightly more consistent. We have 7 resets already at Brock. As you can see, this challenge is not easy in the beginning when you only have Struggle as your only attacking move. Although at level 13 we take out the Geodude with 43 HP remaining, and as long as Onix doesn't hit too many Rock Tombs, we should be good. Couple tackles later, we do have Onix at about half health when we're a little below half health, but a critical struggle brings it into the red, and after a soft bind, one more struggle downs Onix, and through 7 resets, we finally defeat Brock and earn the right to move on through Mount Moon and take on Misty. Now, the reason I try to take on Misty early here is because Misty here gives off the TM for Water Pulse, which would finally give Lugia an attacking move. And with base 90 special attack, although it's not stab, even though you'd think Lugia would be a water type, any move that's not Struggle would do wonders for Lugia here. Unfortunately though, Staryu has Harden and Recover, which means that it's able to outpace the damage we're doing to it, and since here in Generation 3 Recover has 20 PP, the damage that we're doing to ourselves in turn with Staryu able to confuse us with Water Pulse and also do valuable chip damage, we're not able to outpace the Staryu and we go down. I like to try Misty again, hoping for better luck to not get confusion, but it's just not happening here. Even if we do get a critical hit and take out the Staryu, Starmie is bulkier and also has Water Pulse and Harden and Recover. Which means if we can't take out Staryu reliably, we sure as hell ain't taking out Starmie. I decided to take on the rival at Nugget Bridge, hoping that this will be slightly more consistent, on top of the fact that he has 4 Pokemon and we're able to get pretty good XP. As I mentioned earlier, at level 22, Lugia does get Gust. So even if we're not able to defeat Misty and get Water Pulse, we can try to take on a few more trainers and eventually pick up Gust, which I believe has 35 power in Generation 3. But like I said, literally anything on Lugia besides Struggle would be an absolute lifesaver because we would be taking Recoil. We end up getting low, but since Abra can't damage us, a single Struggle one-shots us, and we earn the right to take on the trainers on Nugget Bridge, which is pretty good for us, as they all give pretty good XP. Another thing here, though, is that we can also pick up the rare candy in Cerulean here, allowing us to take on Misty one more time at level 20. Struggle is over half, but Staryu gets up a Harden. Fortunately for us, one more Struggle gets the job done, but here's Starmie. We're not even doing a fourth to it. It looks like Struggle will be a 5 or even 6 hit KO, and without multiple critical hits, we're not going to get the luck that we need to get past Misty, which is unfortunate because I really wanted to get Water Pulse here to make the trainers on Nugget Bridge easier, but alas, I do manage to struggle my way through Nugget Bridge, get through the final rocket with 1 HP, and after taking on one final hiker, we improve to level 22, earning us the flying type stab move Gust. So finally here, Misty should be fairly easy as we have a reliable way to deal damage. And like I said, Lugia does have 90 base attack, and with same type attack bonus as well. As you can see, Gust is doing pretty good damage, two-shotting the Staryu even through a Harden. And it looks to be about a 4-hit KO on Starmie, so all we need is maybe one lucky critical hit to outpace the recovers. And as you can see, Starmie with our monstrous special defense is unable to do any real threatening damage with Water Pulse. A crit brings it down and elects to not go for recover, and one more Gust downs the Starmie, earning us the TM for Water Pulse and the Cascade badge. Now that we have 2 legitimate attacking options, one physical, one special, we're able to pretty easily plow through all their trainers in our way. Here taking on the rival on the SSA, and I'd like to go for Water Pulse accidentally against Wartortle, but as you can see here, Gust being same type attack bonus and neutral effective here, despite Wartortle spamming Harden and us missing a bunch of attacks due to the Pidgeotto sand attack, we take off the Wartortle with a little less than half HP. We miss a Water Pulse on Raticate, but one more crits it and downs it in one hit, leading to Kadabra, who goes down in a single Gust, earning us an easy victory over Rival 3 here on the SSN. After heading up, rubbing the captain's back weirdly enough, and earning the HM for cut, this earns us the right to take on the 3rd gym leader, the electric type user Lieutenant Surge. Now Lugia being a flying type here, you'd think it would have some trouble, but as you can see, Lugia's monstrous special defense allows it to only take 13 hit points from a super effective Shockwave. Unfortunately for us, Pikachu does paralyze, but we get a high roll on the next Water Pulse, taking it down. And also, doubly unfortunately for us, Raichu spams Double Team. With us paralyzed and it at +3 evasion, we're not going to be hitting a whole lot of moves, but fortunately we take a bunch of Shockwaves and one more Water Pulse downs the Raichu, earning us a very easy 3rd gym badge. After picking up the TM for Aerial Ace and teaching it to Lugia in place of Gust, it's time to take on rival number 4 here at the Lavender Tower. A single Aerial Ace brings Pidgeotto down into the yellow and one more cleans it off, leading into Wartortle. Despite going for a withdraw, it hangs on with red health, but just goes for another withdraw for no reason, allowing one more Aerial Ace to take it out. In comes Growl, that intimidates us, but a special Water Pulse downs it in one hit, leading to Kadabra, whose paper-thin defenses lead it to go down in one single Aerial Ace, execute, hangs on with a shred of HP, but one more Aerial Ace downs the pile of seeds and earns us an easy victory over the rival. After picking up the T, we're able to get to Saffron and learn Psychic, a super powerful 90 base power Psychic move, which is Stab on Lugia, with it being a Psychic and Flying type, earning us a much needed Stab Psychic type move, which would take care of poison types like no problem. After learning Recover as well, which is phenomenal for Lugia due to its bulk, we go to take on the 4th gym leader, Erica, which has 2 poison types. Namely, Victory Bell here, who goes out in one single Psychic, leading into Tangela, who is not a Grass Poison type, the only pure Grass type in Generation 1. Still, Psychic's high base power one-shots it, as does Vileplume, who's weak to Psychic, and we earn ourselves a super laughably easy victory over Erica, who's often the easiest gym leader in the game. Over in the Rocket Hideout, it's time to take on Giovanni for the first time in this fight, who leads with Onyx. A quad-effective Water Pulse downs the Rock Snake, leading into Kangaskhan. A Psychic does about half, and a useless Tail Whip later, one more Psychic downs the Kangaskhan, leading into Rhyhorn. But its horrible Spidef leads it to go down to one single Psychic, earning us a painless victory over Giovanni, and picking up the Silph Scope. After going to the Lavender Tower, annihilating the Marowak, and earning us the Pokeflute, we are able to move on towards Silphco to take on rival number 5, who leads up with Pidgeot. Level 37 Pidgeot is going to be a 2-shot with Psychic after a wing attack, leading into Blastoise. The reason I picked Blastoise is because it is the bulkiest of the 3 starters, and it should take a fair amount of hits for us to take it down. A Psychic Aerial Ace Psychic combo is enough to take it down, so after we're down to 47 hit points, one single Aerial Ace does down the Blastoise from red health. We go for Psychic on Growlithe instead of Water Pulse, stupidly enough, and we hang on with 38 HP, leading to Execute, An Aerial Ace does about 2/3 to it. We get paralyzed, we break through paralysis, leading into Alakazam. It absolutely throws the battle though, going for Calm Mind and then Future Sight, allowing 2 Aerial Aces to take it down, earning us a first try victory over rival number 5. We got lucky there with Alakazam's AI. And after picking up the Lapras for HM purposes, it is time to take on Giovanni number 2. As he leads with Nidorino, a poison type, so 1 Psychic eviscerates it, leading into Rhyhorn. Quad effective Water Pulse does the same, as he then goes into his trusty Kangaskhan. A Psychic does a little less than half when we get crit, but an Aerial Ace keeps it out of healing range, leading 1 more to down it, leading into the final Nidoqueen, who is a poison type. It is pretty bulky though, so it takes 2 Psychics to take it down, but still, a relatively painless first try victory versus Giovanni earns us the right to earn the Master Ball, which is utterly useless in this run, and take on Gym Leader Sabrina, the Psychic type user. Fortunately for us though, Lugia does have phenomenal special bulk, and also a pretty decently powerful move here in Aerial Ace, which can't miss, which manages to rip through her physically frail Psychic types, except for Venomoth here, who is a Poison type, doesn't belong in the Psychic Gym, going down to a super effective Psychic, leading to Alakazam, who takes about 3/4 from an Aerial Ace, goes for a useless Calm Mind, and goes down to 1 more Aerial Ace, earning us a damageless gym battle here over Sabrina. We head over to the Safari Zone, pick up the Gold Teeth, and also, more importantly, the HM for Surf, which will give Lugia a super powerful 95 power Water type move. Unfortunately not Stab, even though you'd think the Guardian of the Sea would be a Water type, but hey, it is a Psychic and Flying type, but whatever, I will gladly take a 95 power Water type move to deal with the Rock and Ground types in this game. Up next is the Poison type Gym Leader Koga, which I don't anticipate being much of a problem, but unfortunately, Muck hangs on with must be 1 HP, and we managed to hit through a double team, but unfortunately for us, we managed to not kill again, as Sludge manages to poison us, and 1 more Aerial Ace, which can't miss, does take down the Muck, but that leaves us with only 73 HP after the poison. A Psychic one-shots the Coughing, and if we don't one-shot the Wheezing here, we could be in trouble, but hey, woulda, shoulda, coulda, we did one-shot the Wheezing, and we earn a first try victory over Koga, leaving just 2 gyms remaining. Next up is Blaine. This is why I love the Kanto games, you get a big boss rush after you finish up the Rockets. First up is Growlithe, and I go for an Aerial Ace for some reason, despite being intimidated, but 2 of them get the job done. Next up is Arcanine. A Surf does a little more than half, and a second Surf polishes it off, leading into Ponyta. 1 single Surf downs the Fire Horse, leading to the bigger Fire Horse, Rapidash, who does not quite get taken down. After a Hyper Potion, we manage to get a slightly higher roll, which doesn't get the job done. So I go for an Aerial Ace and then a Surf to take down the slightly bigger Fire Horse, and also finishing off Blaine with an extremely easy first try victory. Next up is Giovanni, which Surf will also be pretty effective against here. He has a lot of Rock and Ground types, namely Rhyhorn here. For some reason, I just sit around here, not starting the fight, before electing to go for Surf, one-shotting the Rhyhorn. Next up is another Rhyhorn who goes down in 1 single hit to a Surf. Up next is Dugtrio, who has pitiful 35 base HP, also going down to a Surf. Nidoqueen, being a Poison type, goes down in a single Psychic, as does a Nidoking here. And as you can see, yeah, damageless here. We got our 8th and final gym badge. And yeah, Lugia low-key annihilating the late game here after a horrible start with Struggle. Once we got moves, as you can see, Lugia is an absolute beast, being a legendary Pokemon. Here against rival number 6, 2 Psychics polish off the Pidgeot. And we're going to have some trouble here against Blastoise. They go for Surf because it's rain boosted, but it's still not doing a whole lot. Psychic, Aerial Ace, and Surf are all not doing a whole lot. I have this hope for a special defense drop with Psychic, which I don't get, but 1 more Psychic does polish off the Blastoise. Rhyhorn goes down in a single Surf, leading to Growlithe, who suffers the same fate. Next up is Execute. For some reason, he's just not evolving his Pokemon this late in the game, but hey, it is what it is. After we get paralyzed, though, we break through and do hit a super effective Aerial Ace. Alakazam just throws once again, going for Calm Mind and then Disable. Fortunately for us, we get Surf disabled, but Aerial Ace gets undisabled, and we manage to break through paralysis with 21 HP, take out the Alakazam, and earn the victory over Rival 6. After depositing all of our pickup and HM Pokemon into the PC, without further ado, it's time to see how easily Lugia can get through the Kanto Elite Foreign Champion. First up, as per usual, is the Ice-type user Lorelei. And unfortunately for Lugia here, we do have a bit of a trouble. I did elect to teach Shockwave over Surf, and I deleted Surf at the future, moved to Leader since we can always reteach it in the future. But however, Dugong's solid bulk allows us to take quite a few Shockwaves to be taken down. And between super effective Ice Beam damage and Hail Chip, Lugia is not able to get much done. We do take down Dugong, but the Hail Chip downs Lugia, giving us our first reset since Misty. We try again here, but I decided to go for a different strategy, just going for Psychic right away. Instead of Shockwave, there's a chance we can get the special defense drop. Even though we don't get it, a Psychic and 2 Shockwaves down the Dugong, not allowing it to get Hail up. Unfortunately for us though, Lapras is bulky. It also has access to super effective Ice Beam as well as Confuse Ray. Fortunately for us though, Lugia is also extremely bulky and has access to Recover, which in Generation 3 does have 20 PP. And with Lugia's high HP and monstrous special defense stats, we are going to be able to outpace Lapras's damage here. It's just a matter of how many lucky crits can we get and how many times can we break out of Confusion. This fight could be long, but due to our massive bulk and access to Recover, we are going to be able to get through here. As the issue is that our Lugia is level 52, and her lead Dugong was level 52, the lowest level Pokemon in the Elite Four. And it being a legendary Pokemon means that I'm not going to get a ton of experience. Most legendaries are in the slow experience group, meaning that at this point in the game, Lugia is not going to be gaining a ton of XP, which is why it fell behind in levels a ton. By the time we get to the champion, we're going to be like 10 levels below. After a long war of attrition, we eventually do take out Lapras, leading into Slowbro, another bulky water. We get frozen, but fortunately we break out and are able to land a Recover before getting frozen and immediately thawing again. After a yawn, we do fall asleep, but it just spams yawn over and over again, allowing us to wake up and land a super effective Shockwave, leading into Jinx. Jinx is physically frail, and despite getting a crit Ice Punch, we hang on with 40 HP, try to recover off the damage from Jinx to allow us to have a decent amount of HP leading into our final Pokemon, which is the very specially frail Cloyster. It just goes for a useless Spikes and Protect, not doing any damage to us, allowing 2 Shockwaves to down us grow to level 53, and finally get a long and hard victory over Lorelei, leading into Bruno, who's not known for his excellence in the Kanto games. First off, he leads with an Onyx, which its poor special defense allows it to go down to a single Psychic. Weirdly enough here, Hitmonchan does actually have surprisingly really good special defense. I believe both Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee have like 110 base special defense. Alas though, it does go down to a few Aerial Aces leading to Machamp. Now Machamp does have Rock Tomb, but it just misses it and then goes for a weak Cross Chop, allowing us to take it down with 3 Aerial Aces leading to Hitmonlee. Hitmonlee just misses a Mega Kick and goes down in a single Aerial Ace leading to Onyx, who after a soft Double Edge takes a lot of damage from a Psychic. We go for an Aerial Ace, try to get some chip. Double Edge gets even more chip, allowing the Psychic to take it down and earn us a first try victory over Bruno, with green health remaining. Next up is Agatha, who might claim she's a Ghost type trainer, but in reality we all know she's a Poison type trainer, as all 5 of her Pokemon are Poison type. Gengar goes down to single Psychic, as does Golbat. Next up brings in our good friend Arbok, who gets off an Intimidate. Unfortunately for it though, we go for the special Psychic, downing it in one hit, leading to her second Gengar. We go for Psychic, it gets the one shot, all that leaves behind is Haunter. Now we're out of Psychics, but Haunter is pretty physically frail as it goes for a Hypnosis and then a Mean Look. Fortunately for us though, we wake up, go for Shockwave, and it kills us up with Curse, giving us a damageless victory over Agatha. Next up is Lance, the Dragon type user. In this generation he's actually a Dragon type user, not a Flying type user, because he has Dragonairs and not all Dragonites. First off, though, is Gyarados, who goes down in 2 Shockwaves before only doing a fixed 40 damage with Dragon Rage. And Ancient Power does a decent amount of damage, leaving Lugia on 43 HP. And after a full restore, since we're not doing half, it outspeeds and downs us with an Ancient Power, getting a Omni Boost to rub in the salt. Our second reset of the Elite Four, unfortunately enough. We regroup and try again, though, still at level 54. After an Intimidate drop, we go for a Shockwave on Gyarados. It does 40 damage with Dragon Rage, and we down it with one more Shockwave, leading to Aerodactyl. I reteach Surf here, which has over half, and we stay on 34 HP from an Ancient Power, growing to level 55, not learning Rain Dance, and leading into Dragonair. Now, fortunately for us, we have Recover, as it just paralyzes us, but despite a few soft outrages, we managed to outpace the damage and down it with a few Psychics, leaving us with 176 HP. An outrage is a little bit of damage here, but since Dragonair is not the best attacker in the world with it not being fully evolved, we managed to outpace its damage and down it with a few Psychics. Dragonite here is surprisingly enough not doing a ton of damage either, as it is a physical attacker. But since we're in Generation 3, it is a special type move, as all Dragon type moves are special. We do get a Spadef drop on Dragonite, which means that we are doing a little bit more damage with Psychic, and we're also able to outpace the Outrage damage due to our really high special defense and access to Recover, despite Lance spamming full restores. We go for a Shockwave to keep it at a healing range, and one more Psychic downs the Dragonite, earning us the right to take on the final trainer of Kanto, our rival Regular. Will us, the legend, or will the regular trainer himself become the champion of Kanto? Let's find out. He leads up with his trusty Pidgeot at level 59. As you can see, we're 4 levels below his lead. We go for Surf, Psychic, and then another Surf to keep it out of healing range, bringing in Arcanine. Arcanine gets off the Intimidate drop, but we're a pure special attacker in this fight, which is fine. A Flamethrower brings us into the yellow, but one more Surf downs the Fire Dog, leading into Blastoise. Now, as you can see here, I taught Toxic, but you guys might think to be boring, and you would be right. But hey, this truly encapsulates what Lugia is. If you ever play Lugia in competitive, as you know, it's going to be like a toxic recover stall mon. It is a bulky support mon at its heart. And since Blastoise is super bulky, we need the toxic damage to rack up, as we do have limited psychic PP. But thanks to a Spinef drop, we are able to down it with one more psychic. Obviously, Rhydon goes out in a single quad effective surf, leading into Alakazam. Now, as you can see here, Alakazam does synchronize the poison, but the way it appears to work in Generation 3 is that even if we toxic poison it, it only synchronizes back regular poison, meaning that we're able to heal off most of the poison damage with Recover. If this poison doesn't drop any stats like Burn or Paralysis does, I'm honestly not too mad about this. Since we're able to use an elixir before the fight, recovering all our PP, we do have a fair amount of recover remaining, even though we do get a Spinef drop from Psychic, one more Surf, and Toxic damage down to the Alakazam, leaving us with 40 HP on the Executor. Now, we also can't really damage Executor unless I were able to teach Fly, which I didn't really want to, thanks to the Intimidate drop from Arcanine. So, once again, we go for Toxic. Is this fun? It's fun for me. It might not be fun for viewership, but it is fun for me. We're able to recover off any poison damage we do have. Unfortunately for Executor, he does not have access to recovery. And after a long war of attrition, a Psychic brings it low. It goes for a useless light screen, and Toxic damage finishes off the Executor, winning us the run. If not for the stall fest in the beginning where we were forced to use Struggle for the first 2 gyms, I really do think this run would have been extremely fast. As you can see, we had 10 resets in the Brock and Misty splits alone, before having 2 in the Elite Four due to being relatively low leveled. If I were to redo this run, I'm sure I could probably strategize better to not get those resets in the Elite Four. But unfortunately, a lot of the struggle moments early in the run did just come down to luck, whether or not we got crits or whatever. So I don't really know how much I could, like, cut down on that. Now, I did want to do Ho-Oh next, but Ho-Oh also struggles from the same problem, no pun intended, is that it only gets Whirlwind and Safeguard until level 22. So I think next, if I do another solo run, I do want to do like a regular Pokemon before getting back into Legendaries. But I'm not going to do Ho-Oh for a relatively long time, because I'm not trying to use Struggle through the first 2 gyms again. Especially with a Fire and Flying type, which is quad weak to Rock and weak to Water. That would not be fun in Pokemon FireRed. In Generation 2, Lugia and Ho-Oh start with Aeroblast and Sacred Fire, but in Generation 3, they decided to remove that, obviously, because you can never get a Lugia or Ho-Oh below, like, level, 70 in this generation, or 50, or whatever it is. Point is, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys whenever it comes next.